So this is the Escape from Knab website, and what you'll want the students to do is click on Land on Knab. From here, you can have them watch the Escape from Knab movie if you like. You'll have to make sure you have the latest Shockwave plugin. But if you don't want to watch that, you can always go straight to the blast off. But if we click on the Escape from Knab movie, it'll pop up, and there's no real sound. It just basically shows the ship going off to Knab and landing there. And then you can click on the here link to go to the big adventure. So basically, it goes through the 6 months, and in January you pick a job. And it doesn't really matter too much which one they pick, but it varies on how much money per hour they're going to make, and it gives a little bit of an explanation about um, the wage being good, but it's slow to get a raise, and the second one, the wage is lower, but if you're a good worker, you can get a higher increase in pay and that type of thing. So I just picked one of the jobs, and in January as well, it asks you to fill out a what they refer to as a W-4 form, which is like our T4 slips, and you can bring those parallels to this situation with our own, forms that we need to fill out as we get hired on. And so you used to actually have on the site, they could actually fill in their own names, but for privacy, it's kind of nice that you can just um, pick the names off the list. So it also goes into talking about exemptions, and you could talk about that, how if you are a living being, in this case, you get certain exemptions depending on how many children you are supporting, that type of thing. You can get exemptions and not have to pay as much taxes. And so you could talk about that with students and what that means in Canada. So once you press submits, then it'll explain how much income taxes they're going to take off. In this case, they're not going to take any income tax off, which of course to the student that sounds great. Of course, when we get to the end of the game and they claw back some money, then that sort of throws them for a bit of a loop, which is okay for them to experience that and to see why it's kind of handy sometimes to pay income tax along throughout the year as opposed to paying it all at the end. So once we press continue, we can then look at, how much money are we going to spend on food? And spending money on food becomes important for your health, of course, and housing. It's going to be $40 straight up right now, and then we're going to look into that later. And they get to decide if they want to take the bus or if they are going to take a cab everywhere, and why. Slime repellent becomes important in Knab, so how much money they're going to put on that type of thing. So it talks about direct deposit and what that means, and everything here too, and credit card and how much interest is being paid on a credit card. So you can always uh, break into a conversation about that and the cost of that. In February, oxygen alert. We need some more oxygen, so we can do the shockwave if you have shockwave, or non-shockwave if you don't have shockwave on your computer. And this would be a situation where there is no shockwave. If it was working, then we would be able to write on the check right here, but it's not working. So and often in the schools it's not working. So you can just go to the non-shockwave, and it gives an explanation on how to write a check. It shows the example, but we just don't get to write right on the screen if we don't have shockwave working. But it gives you the example, and you could also actually on paper print out a few sample checks to have the students practice writing a check. Now in March we start talking about buying a house, and this is where you can talk to the students about how much money you normally would put down on a down payment, what it means to amortize the loan over a number of years, that type of thing. So if we look over in our accounts, and it says we have about $5,600 to our name. So we could put down $5,600 in the down payment, and then press calculate, and it will figure out how much of a house we can purchase. And you can have the students just go back and forth on this and put in different numbers to figure out exactly how much of a house they could purchase depending on how much money they put down. So we press continue, and look at this. Depending on how much money you can afford, you can go with any one of these homes. Sometimes when the students log on, they only get the rental option. Sometimes they get more. Today, it looks like there's a few houses on the market that I could purchase. A cozy 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom traditional outer space style. Well, gee, which one should I pick, or should I just rent? Well, you know what? I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go all out and get the 3 luxurious sleeping chambers and the oxygen bar. It's great for entertaining and that type of thing. So once I've selected that one, let's buy it. All right, now we go into April, where we get to decide if we should buy or lease a vehicle. And you know what? I'm going to take a look at the X2001, and I could take this vehicle out. I could lease it, or I can go other selection, and I can check out the other vehicle. The Force 5 hovercraft. You know, I think, and there's a penalty for bringing it back afterwards. So you know what? I think I'm going to go a little bit conservatively here. Just go for the X2001. I'm going to choose it as my vehicle of choice. And what kind of a down payment should I put down on a vehicle? Looks like in my accounts now I'm doing fairly well. I have a little bit of money in my accounts, so I think I could put down, say, $2,000 on this vehicle, and I'm going to make it a 1-year term, and I'm going to calculate what that works out. And I can decide to buy it, to lease it, or look at the other vehicle again. And I can spend a bit of time comparing the two and deciding the two vehicles and the two methods, buying and leasing. And this is options that you can discuss with the students of, well, to buy it's a lot more per month, but to lease it's not as much, but that type of thing. So you know what? I think because I'm only going to be here for 6 months, I'm going to lease this vehicle. And of course, in April, insurance on my hovercraft is $60 per month. And you know what? You can decide if you want to buy the insurance or not. I'm going to take the insurance because I think it's important to have. And of course, some of your students may choose not to, and then they'll face the consequences down the road, because often what will happen if you don't buy the insurance is you get into an accident in the program. Now, here is where we start picking, different types of investments, and it talks about some are a little bit more risky than others, and which ones do you want to go with. Well, I am going to invest $1,500 in the Bank Knab 30-day certificate program. It's very conservative, very safe, and I'll just invest that much. And here we are in June, and since we've been working hard, they're suggesting we go on a 1-week vacation. And I think, if you charge it, of course, it's going to be major interest. You could take out a loan, less interest, or if you have the money in the bank, you could take it right out of your savings. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. Or I could take actually vacation pay instead. Because I want to get off of this, planet. I don't want to spend the $1,000 or close to $1,000, so I'm going to take the vacation in extra pay. And an accident alert, here it is, but luckily I bought insurance, so I'm okay. So I go continue, and now it's July. We get to see if we make it off of the planet. So I go continue. It's tax time. I claimed 3 exemptions, so but I've received a bill for $3,000 that I have over $3,000 I have to spend money on. I'm going to sell my house now. I bought it for $8,500. Today's market value, it's gone up. There's a capital gains tax though that I have to pay. So in the end, I'm going to make $4,700 when I sell my house. And now I get to liquidate my investments. I only made $5.63. And then there's taxes on that profit, of course. So I've only made $4.50 on my investments. So I sell them off. And I did not make the $10,000 to get off of Knab. So I have to spend another year there until I get the opportunity to leave again. So that's Escape from Knab. The educational stuff to work through this particular set of screens is right here under educational stuff. If I scroll down to the bottom of the objectives, and it gives you the objectives month by month. Talks about how you can present it to class as well right here. If I click on these activity sheets down here at the bottom, then what I have is the option to look at the simulation log or those month by month. So the simulation log provides questions that just to keep the students on task, and they can put down what they've chosen, but they can also write for you why they chose the particular job or why they filled in the form in a certain way, and explain right here. And again, you could print this out and have the students use it, or I would suggest doing something like a survey on the virtual classroom where they can fill it out for you right there online as well. So, and it goes through each of the months as they work through it. All right, I'm going to stop there and go through the month by month in depth for you in another video.